Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Thank you for listening to USB Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. Hey, listen, if you missed that game, you missed a good one. You truly did. Um, this is the soccer recap for. I guess I didn't get a game day out there, so I wanted to make sure I got on here and at least talked about the game. That part I did want to do. 3:30 start time. I mean, that makes it pretty difficult to get everything done when you have to work a normal job too. So just kind of sucks. But you know, no big deal. It is what it is. But again, if you missed the game, all right, you really did miss a good one. And it was a little warm. I understand, like I said, 3:30 p.m. That's a pretty tough game to get to, but um, you really did miss a good one. It was an opening game for Deseret Peak High School. That part of it was pretty cool. It was their first match on their own field, and it was against an intercounty rival. So, the biggest thing that I think we should take away from that is that it was a good showing for him. It was really a good showing for him. Grantsville ended up taking the win. 5-3. But don't let the score fool you. Like they really did a good job. They really did a good job. So we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of that today. But what I want to do right now is I'm just going to do a quick check on my phone because, okay. Yep, nope, we're good. I just wanted to make sure the sound was coming through. I know this was a little bit last minute, so my hopes aren't very high for there being a lot of viewers for it. But really, I wanted to test and see if this was something that I could throw together quickly because I think it'd be cool to kind of do this stuff after, after games and things like that. Plus, I have a little bit of free time this evening. So if you're unaware, we had the soccer game today. And then we've also got our interview tonight at 9 p.m. So a lot going on today. We'll be live again at 9 p.m. Sorry, I'm still trying to hydrate from that heat. That they could definitely Desert Peak could definitely name their stadium the Microwave Stadium. It was pretty warm. It was pretty warm, and I wasn't even on close to the turf, so I'm pretty sure those gals were pretty warm as well. So nonetheless, though, it was warm. Luckily, we had the window, so that goes well for us. But let's get into this game. Okay. Again, 3:30 p.m. It's tough to get there. More people ended up showing up as we got closer to the start of it. So that was definitely good. I was kind of nervous a little bit at the beginning of it. It really didn't look like anybody was going to show up. Um, I've always kind of said it about Grantsville. I think Grantsville travels really well. Obviously, they should have traveled really well to this game. It's literally like 8 miles away, maybe nine. I don't really know, but it's pretty dang close. But again, 3:30 start time. That makes it pretty difficult, I think, for a lot of working people to get there. There's other sports doing practices and things like that, and then there's obviously like our football players that are probably taking naps because they had to go in the morning and then they're going to get in the evening. So, a lot going on for a lot of people. 3:30 is a tough start time, definitely. But nonetheless, pretty decent turnout, I think it would have been cooler to get more for sure. But it was a pretty decent turnout, pretty decent turnout. So let's talk about this game. Now, the Grantsville Cowboys travel up to Deseret Peak to take on the Deseret Peak Golden Eagles. All right, and this is women's soccer, and Grantsville ends up winning the game 5-3. Uh, really, really, it was a pretty good game, and I said it in the post, and I'm going to say it on this here again. Don't let the score fool you. Don't let the score fool you, right? Because Deseret Peak really made a contest out of this. If you want, listen, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt, okay? Because what I'm about to say, please take it with a grain of salt because I'm saying it as the guy who was sitting in the stands sweating to death, okay? Um, in my opinion, as an individual who doesn't know a ton about soccer, okay, I would say probably not even. I understand how goals are scored and how the scoring works, kind of, but I don't know a ton about soccer. Okay, so from my perspective, seeing it, if I had to say what was the difference in that game, I would say it was that first 15 to 20 minutes. Grantsville really came out with a lot more intensity, a lot more energy, and I think that's what ultimately won it for him because Deseret Peak held in there. They did a great job hanging in there. They made it a contest. They battled back in to the point where, Grantsville's coach towards the end, I think it's like the last 10-ish minutes, roughly, give or take. Um, he was very adamant about getting his team to just like slow the tempo, kind of run the clock out type thing, right? I don't know. I'm not going to say that he was worried, okay, but I think the game had got close enough that he was like, oh my goodness, we need to kind of control this a little bit better, right? And maybe he does that every time. And that could be fair. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of their games yet. But that was kind of my takeaway from it. So I would say the first 15 to 20 minutes of that game is what won the game for Grantsville because again, Deseret Peak did a fantastic job hanging in there, and really, I think it was the first goal. I could be completely wrong about this, okay, but I think it was the first goal. There, oh man, I want to say it was Lindsey Wangsgar. Is that right? I should have pulled the roster. I'm super unprepared. I threw this together really quick. Let me pull up the roster real fast. Unfortunately for Deseret Peak, I don't have a roster just yet. They haven't posted one, so I'm going to do my best to try to remember the numbers because I had a bonehead moment, and I definitely wasn't writing anything down or anything like that. So, and I should have been. But hey, this is my first game too, right? So, yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was Lindsay Wangsgard. She shoots at the goal, and Deseret Peak's goalie, she does a fantastic job blocking it. But it was literally just like a heads up play and being in the right spot at the right time. Maybe it was anticipation, don't really know. Or so we'll just say it was a heads up anticipation from Camry Allen. The ricochet comes off from the goalie and she just happens to be there to kick it in. That's what got him on the board. Really just a heads up play, maybe a little bit of luck mixed in with it, right? Definitely nothing that if you're looking at Deseret Peak that you get upset about. And really, I think if that goal doesn't happen, I think this is a much more intense game in the last 15 minutes of the game. I think it would have been a lot more chippy probably. But it did. It is what it is. When we talked to Camry on her interview, she said she wanted to do better than her 20 goals from last season. Well, she got 3 in this game alone, if I'm not mistaken. So she's definitely well on her way to doing that. But as a team, they played really good. And for Deseret Peak, I had a bonehead move. I didn't even see who made their first goal. My son decided he was going to finally text me back after about 8 hours. And so like a rookie, I looked at it, okay, and I missed it. I missed who made the goal, which I feel bad about because that's literally the first goal in the school's history. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully I can figure out who that was because that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for him. I think, and I do apologize if I'm wrong. Again, I don't have a roster, so I'm kind of going off my memory. And anybody who's listens to this, I fully admit my memory sucks, okay? But I'm pretty sure it was number 22. It was either 22 or 12 for Deseret Peak. She ended up scoring the second goal, I believe it was. And then number 2 for Deseret Peak ended up scoring the third goal in the second half of that match, I believe it was. So really good game. I even forget who scored the other ones for Grantsville. I want to say it was a Lindsay, I'm pretty sure, because I heard the coach yelling it. And he's got 2 of them, so he was usually saying the last names. Real bonehead move. Ladies, I apologize. I will get better at it for the next time. But nonetheless, it was a really good game. It was a really good game. I said the thing about the coach being really loud on the sidelines. And I don't say this to be negative by any means, okay? So please don't take it that way. But the fact that Grantsville's coach has a European accent. I don't know which country specifically, so I don't want to be too ignorant here, okay? But the fact that he has a European accent, excuse me, it truly just made that experience for me. It was fantastic. I don't know what else you could ask for to go as somebody who doesn't know soccer to go to a soccer game and hear the coach yelling at him with the accent, and he was calling it football. That like only us greedy Americans call it soccer, right? So like, no, it was really cool. in my opinion, he did a good job of correcting his players because he definitely let them know when they messed up. But I didn't hear anything that wasn't followed by constructive advice after, and I think that that's really cool. I think the refs probably hated him. I think they had to tell him to get back like I don't know how many times, or hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, whatever. And but I think that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I didn't I was on the wrong side of the field probably to hear anything that Deseret Peak's coach was potentially saying. But again, I think they played a really good game. It looked like Grantsville was going to run away with this thing and really kind of embarrass them on their opening game, on their home field. And I got to give them credit. They held strong. They fought back. They were patient. I really do feel like that first 15 to 20 minutes was probably the deal breaker for Deseret Peak. And maybe I think you could add a little bit to that mindset. The Deseret Peak ladies were kind of just thrown together, right? They're from different schools, different programs for the most part. Maybe there's not a whole lot of cohesion there. They're building a first year thing there. Um, definitely, definitely possible that they were just a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And so maybe that's what contributed to it. Grantsville's a young team, but they have the benefit of having a lot of cohesion kind of coming into it, right? And I don't know if Deseret Peak has that. So maybe that's all it was in that first 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe a little bit of, I don't want to say fear. Okay. I don't think they were scared, but maybe potential nerves, right? Maybe that's really what it was. Plus, again, it was pretty dang warm. I mean, luckily we had the wind that helped out tremendously. But nonetheless, it was warm and the they were playing on the turf field. All that stuff plays a factor. So definitely could have been part of the problem for it. But I really would, again, just as somebody who can only look at you know the things that I know are effective when it comes to being successful in a plan of action. I would say it was the intensity. Personally, I think that's really all it boiled down to because again, Deseret Peak did a fantastic job of hanging in there, being patient, bouncing back in and making it a contest, not allowing themselves to be embarrassed in their first game on their own home field. So again, if you missed this one, it was a really good game. And I don't say anything to put any shade on anybody here, okay? Because if you were on the Grantsville side, there was no shade. All right, so we're not throwing any shade anywhere. No, seriously, I really think that they did a fantastic job, and they're going to continue to improve. I think Grantsville, based off our conversation we had with Camry Allen and her interview, I think they've got a few things to tighten up if they want to be successful moving into the rest of their season, right? And I think they're going to address that because if there's one thing I feel confident that coach is, he's going to express it, he's going to address it, and that's not a knock on him by any means. So I think they'll be in a good position. I really do. Again, in that interview we had with Allen, she told us that one of the strengths of Grantsville was that they take a lot of shots on the goal. That is definitely true, and yes, they made 5 of them. I would say 2 of them were possibly just right place, right time type things. And that goalie for Deseret Peak, she did a really good job. And so I hope this gets to her and she hears that because she truly did do a great job. Grantsville's really quick. They're really quick, and so I think that was probably a good opener for them. They're pretty fast. But again, like they weren't immune to it either. I would say definitely towards the latter part of the game, as expected, right? Fatigue started to kick in for sure. I mean, you saw a lot more hands on hips. I mean, again, I'm saying this as the guy who was dying in the stands. Okay, so please take it with a grain of salt. Okay, but you saw that kind of wear on him, and I'm sure that that's something that will improve as the season goes on, practices and all that stuff. But it's a factor, and I really think that Deseret Peak did a good job personally. They lose this one, sure, but hey. Um, they stopped the blowout. They stopped the runaway game, and they made it difficult at times on Grantsville. So definitely nothing to be upset about. Again, I don't know any names for them. I was hoping that they would have a roster up. They don't have one just yet. So keep working on that. And the next one that I see them play, I will be more prepared and bring a notepad because also like a complete rookie, I did not. I wasn't really listening when they introduced the players all that much because I was trying to, I don't know, get other things done and bonehead move for sure. But hey, listen, honestly, great job, ladies. Um, I think for an opening game, I don't think you can ask for much more. What I will say is this: they've got a really, really nice arena, a really nice field. Okay, I know that the school is the source of a lot of heated comments about how much it costs to build it. And all I got to say to that is, who cares? Shut up. Shut your mouth. Like, who cares? If they don't tax us for schools, they're going to tax us for something else, and we're not going to like it anyway. So, you know what? Hey, at least it's going to the kids. And, it's paying for jobs and things like that. And there's a lot of things that it can do for our community if you get out of your house and you go check it out. But if you're going to complain about the stadium size or anything like that from the comfort of your air conditioning. I don't really care, right? So get out there, support these players, and then maybe have a conversation about it. Because here's what I will say: and this isn't a political show by any means. Okay, so this is all I'm going to say about it. But um, it looked like their track and field stuff and all that is all on that same field too. And I went to another recently built school where they had a separate field dedicated for that. So, we could have made it bigger, So, but my vote is this is my vote. I say we spend even more money and start building some freaking domes, okay? Some climate controlled domes. All right, that's where I sit with it. All right, so spend more money. Who cares? Whatever. Like you're gonna take it from me anyway. So at least spend it on cool stuff. Uh, because yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. That's not what this is about. So, but make sure you hydrate. It's really, really warm. Uh, but again, if you missed this game, you really did miss a good one. So please be sure to get over there and check it out. Um, Go support this new school. Support our old ones too. Obviously, don't just stop, supporting, but get out there and show some love. It's really a good time. It's free. Okay, you can try again. Looks like their next home game is August 20th against Green Canyon for Deseret Peak. Their next home game will be August 20th at 6 p.m. So it probably won't be as warm and a little bit more manageable to get to time wise against Green Canyon. As for Grantsville, let's pull theirs up. I should know all this by heart because I did a whole graphic thing. But I'm not going to lie to anybody. I don't. I don't. Okay. My brain is fried from the bleachers. All right. From Stadium Microwave. All right. But as for Grantsville, they will on Wednesday they play Stansbury, same time, 3:30 p.m. and that game will be in Stansbury. So definitely get over there support that game as well. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. If you're watching on the YouTube live, you can see at the bottom there we've got all the upcoming stuff. It's going to be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to learning more about especially soccer. Because you know what, soccer is a lot like baseball for me. Like I really don't mind going to watch it. I really don't. I do struggle to kind of watch it though on TV, and I know that's probably a cliche, common thing that you hear. Um, but I do enjoy going to these games. Um, I think as I start to understand a little bit more of it, maybe I'll even enjoy it a little more. I don't know that I'll ever be a yeller because I don't have a reason to be a yeller. I'm not invested in it with my own kids or anything. But yeah, no, it was definitely a good time. Um, you know, I guess it's kind of like anything else. The last 10 minutes can get exciting. Last 15 minutes, I guess, right, can get pretty exciting. So that's pretty cool. So get out there and do it. It's free. You got nothing else to do anyways. I understand you work jobs and stuff like that. It's definitely hard to get there at 3:30 p.m. But if you can make it, you really should. You really should. It's not the worst thing you're going to do with your day. You can meet people, and if you talk to them, I usually sit far away because I like to be able to take videos sometimes and advertise certain things, and I don't need the parent conversation sometimes. But no, it's a good time. So if you have the opportunity, get out there, check it out. And again, this live was just to see if I could get it together quickly. Honestly, I want to maybe do some of this from the road if I can. I got a few ideas, but I wanted to see how quickly I could get something together, and I think it worked out pretty well. I think it worked out pretty well. So, hey, again, Grantsville ladies win this one 5-3 in Deseret Peak. Great job to both teams, though. Seriously, don't let the score fool you. Deseret Peak really made a contest of it. It was a good matchup. Great game. So, listen, folks, that'll wrap up our recap because one, I don't have all the stats. They're not posted just yet, and like an like a rookie, I didn't take any notes of my own, and I'm trying to rely on my memory, and I'm probably going to mess it up more than anything. So I don't want to say too much, but great job, ladies. Seriously, great job. Thank you for a great introduction to our sports season this year. Cannot wait to see what you ladies do moving forward. Nothing but the best of luck to both these teams as they move forward into their next games. And again, like I said, Grantsville's up on Wednesday against Stansbury, and Deseret Peak is up tomorrow against. I didn't say who they were up against, but they play again tomorrow against Timpview, and that one will be on the road for them. So good luck, Deseret Peak, as you guys head over to Timpview tomorrow. Good luck to you all, and thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. Be sure to hop back on here. We'll be back in about an hour and a half, roughly, where we've got our interview this evening with Grantsville football running back Rigdon Murdoch. So be sure to check that out. It's already created. You can go over there and get in the wait list for it right now and be reminded about it. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So hope everybody has a great day. If you were at that game, definitely drink water. And if you weren't at that game, also drink water. But if you were at the game, definitely drink water. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your evening. And hopefully I'll see you guys back here at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So, all right, everybody, have a great day. We'll see you in a few.